right, Taurus, welcome to your April of 2015 horoscope. My name is Athen. All right, so we have a transitioning month here in April coming out of the energies of last month, which were very intense. We had the Uranus Pluto Square gone exact. We had the Solar Eclipse in Pisces. And so now for the first 7 or 8 days of the month, we're finishing up a lot of these energies from last month. Not that they're going to be intense, then they certainly don't have to be, but there is some things to be learned, and it's involving those same areas. So by learned, it's more of a reflective energy, although we have the Sun there, Mercury's there, helping us think and understand more about it, and this is laying the foundation and bedrock for not only the rest of this month, but for the next 6 months as we move forward in this whole solar eclipse season from these eclipses that, the solar eclipse that happened last month. So April is in many ways a sort of gateway, and the energies are definitely building. You guys have your ruler Venus in your first house all month. So you definitely have the goals, the ambitions, the drives. She's shifting in there on the 6th, excuse me. So it's not the whole month, but from the 6th onward, she'll be in there for the whole month. So there's a lot of this action-oriented energy. But like I said, first, for these few first days, I think there's definitely some things to be learned about freedom, about taking power back in your life, all that same stuff I've been talking about in regards to the Uranus squaring up to Pluto. And it's involving your 11th house where you've had Uranus, so breaking free from, perhaps something relating to your visions, your passions, your what you envision for the world and the satisfaction you get from giving and contributing, and integrating that with breaking free from bonds, bondages that have been holding you in bondage, things that maybe it's debt, maybe it's certain relationships, maybe it's your viewpoint on certain things that have been keeping you suppressed. That's the sort of energy there with Pluto in the 8th squaring up to Uranus. So whatever that's been, look to March for more of an indicator of what that's been for you. But some final things being finished up here around this sort of 4th and 8th, which I'll talk about for you. But before I do, there's a lunar eclipse happening on the 4th, which is very important. It's the beginning of this month. And it's happening in your 5th house, which is really nice. It's about your enjoyment for life. It's about anything that puts a smile on your face. You guys had a solar eclipse in your 6th house last October, so now it's a culmination of that. So if you guys started something with routine, with health, with taking care of the day-to-day activities, your self-improvement in any way, this is a culmination, a high time for those areas. And so it could be that you guys are just feeling really good about it, or it could be a creative project or a small business project or something that you started around that time that could come to a culmination here with the 5th house also. But in either case, all of you Taurans should see a very clear understanding of what gives you passion, what gives you that zest for life, that smile, what really excites you. And that's leading off this month around the 4th. Now that is opposing, because it's the north node, it's opposing up to that Uranus energy. So it's a nice balance again between what you enjoy in life and what your visions are, what other people enjoy in life, and finding that nice middle ground, because the Sun's going to go over Uranus there. So I think you guys are breaking free from a lot of this stuff in that 11th house, the stuff I talked about, wanting freedom there and thinking about who you are, who you've become, what your traits and abilities are. Mercury, is going over your south node there in that 11th house as well, helping you see more and understand more about these visions, you see. But on the 6th, your ruler goes into your 1st house. So whatever it is you're finishing up there and integrating, treat it as a learning experience, because now the energies start to build up with your ruler going into the 1st. It's still very much in the 12th house though, because we have the Sun going into your 12th, Mercury and Mars in your 12th house this month, which is about behind the scenes activities, making sure you're getting enough rest and relaxation. But it's definitely a movement in that forward moving direction this month, and then you'll especially see that next month in May. Now on the 8th, we've got the Jupiter station direct, which is very nice. Jupiter's been retrograde since the beginning of December in your 3rd house. So if you've been learning about communications, if you've been learning about broadcasting yourself, or about teaching, writing, sharing, communicating, that's where you've had opportunities. Now they've been internal opportunities since December, so you may not have really seen them in the external environment. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But now with Jupiter going station direct, as he gains momentum throughout the month, see those opportunities, broadcast yourself, learn, teach, write, share, communicate. All of this stuff is creating opportunities in your life for the first half of this year until he goes into your fourth later on, mid-year. So that's a shift, and it could be around the 8th that you start to shift and notice something different shifting, maybe a new opportunity or something there around the 8th in that third house sector. Now on the 11th, we've got Mercury going into Aries, again, your 12th house. So listening to your dream space, really tap into that intuition this month. He's in there till the 27th, just sort of middle part, bulk of the month. So communicate too the things that that you feel that are intuitively guiding you. Your intuition is your ally this month for sure. On the 12th, we have Mars sextiling up to Neptune. That's going to be nice for everybody. This is an opportunity towards initiating a vision. And this is a vision of your work. Neptune is in your 10th house, and Mars from your 12th is showing you that perhaps something to do with the spiritual stuff. Making sure you get that rest and relaxation is really contributing and really assisting you towards whatever you're doing on a public level, on a career level with Neptune there. So if you are feeling ambitious around 11th, 12th, 13th, by all means, pursue those things with that Neptune in mind. Remember, it's more of a spiritual thing here. It's more about, again, that intuition. And it can be very active and very driven, and it can be a time of great opportunities. Just make sure with that Neptune in your 10th house, you see that it's about giving and contributing and being altruistic to a certain degree, you see. Now on the 14th, we have the Sun going into Aries. That's going to be energetic time for everybody, but it's your 12th house for you guys. So this is, again, the awareness of the unconscious, of the dream space, of your intuition, things like this. So from the 14th onward, and for the first part of May, it's make sure you get that rest, relaxation, go with the flow. And then mid-May, all the fast-moving planets will have been either transited or going into your first house at that point, which will be a much more active time for you. But it's still active this month with your ruler. On the 15th and 16th, we have your ruler opposing up to Saturn from your 7th house. So you guys are reflecting on relationships or the structures you've been creating with relationships since the tail end of last year, since I think around that October time period when Saturn went into your 7th. But he's retrograde, so thinking about these things and reflecting on it. So just make sure with whatever it is you're pursuing, with your goals, your ambitions, your drives, because all that is high, just balance that with relationships, because if you get too off kilter, you put too much emphasis on what you're doing, your relationships are going to suffer. Or if you're putting too much emphasis on your relationships, then you're going to suffer. You don't find that middle path between self and other in terms of finding out that what you want is the same thing that what others want, and you just want to find that middle path, and that'll help merge these two planets together. Because with this opposition, it can sometimes feel like an isolation, a disconnection from relationships, especially because it's in your 7th house. But it doesn't have to be, as long as you are balancing self and other, you see. On the 17th, Mars squares up to Jupiter, which is initiating big plans. Now here's the thing, is with the square, you want to be cautious. On the 18th, we've got the new moon, and on the 19th, we have another square. So 17th, 18th, 19th. This is reflection time. If you are feeling very ambitious, that's great, but use it more of on a mental sphere. It's not Mercury or anything like that, but the new moon is always a time of reflection. So it's happening in your 12th house. So especially for you guys, you want to reflect on the true meaning of life. What means a lot to you, what the true spiritual connotation is to what you're doing in life. And reflect on that, because this is a new beginning here, a new understanding that has to do with these things. It could have to do with your goals and ambitions, because it's going to be like that for all of us, because it's an Aries energy. But for you, because Aries rules your 12th house, you guys, the way you go about moving forward is through peace and presence. That's why the Taurus energy, it's always associated with the senses, because you guys have that ability to tap into your external environment and do things in the external environment, yet remain completely peaceful and intact and spiritual, you see. So that's the kind of energy you want to work with, but with the new beginnings here, it's definitely a reflection time. You want to be like the bamboo, go with the flow. Watch any over-idealization. If these are goals and ambitions relating to your work, because Venus is squaring up to your Neptune in your 10th house this month, or your career, anything on a public level, if you have ambitions there, listen more to your intuition and inner guidance here versus any type of rational understanding about the whole matter. And then through that intuition, you'll gain a much clearer understanding of what these new beginnings are, what you can pursue here that is related to not only your goals and your ambitions, but your spiritual nature, you see, with all this new moon energy in your 12th house. It's a spiritual time. It's a spiritual time moving forward, but understanding more about what's truly meaningful to you. On the 21st and 22nd, we've got Mars trining up to Pluto. So this is where things do get energetic. And again, it's involving that 12th house and with Pluto in your 8th house. So I think you guys are understanding a lot by this point in terms of what's going on behind the scenes, what you're involved with, your spirituality in general. And this can be a very strong motivational force for you to create positive change in your life in general with Pluto and Sag. But with you guys in particular, your 8th house has to do with, again, those bonds, those things that are, holding you down. Like maybe it's that you decide to pay off some debt. Maybe it's something you decide to do that's going to free you up so that you're not in bondage, or that you're not in the whim of someone else or something else that has this overarching, power over you. That's Pluto in the 8th house, which is what you guys are changing and breaking free from, you see, with that Uranus energy. So in either case, it's a very productive energy too. So from the 21st, after, you can see a few days after this new moon, then anything involving those behind the scenes activities, or these 8th house activities, certainly a good time to pursue that. I think you can learn a lot about yourself as well with that 12th house activity. Venus sextiles up to Uranus from your 1st house. So that's could be nice opportunities actually for you guys. It could be through friends or through acquaintances or through your network circles in some way. So look out for that. Good opportunity there. The Sun sextiles up to that Neptune in your 10th house. Could be opportunity through your work, something relating to that. Okay, that's the tail end of the month. So these are sextiles, they're opportunities. We can choose or choose not to, pursue them, but look out for them because they're certainly there. Things definitely shift after the new moon as the energy of that new moon starts to build. So for you, it's like this spiritual, it's like a spiritual warrior almost, because that's how you Taurans are. It's like you have this spiritual understanding of action, and you understand that action is spiritual as well. So a lot of this energy brewing with this new moon, and as the month finishes up, the new moon energy gets fuller and fuller, you see. Now on the 29th, okay, I talked about that. On the 27th, we have Mercury going into your 1st house. So now at the tail end, this is now the next planet to go into your 1st house. Mercury, which is about thinking more about your goals, your plans, your ambitions, probably from a lot of this understanding of rest, relaxation, and spirituality, and these sort of behind the scenes matters, you see. And then in May, once we have, the Sun, and then, at that point, Mars going into your 1st, everything's going to be much more active for you. Not that it isn't already, but I think it's going to be less on the behind the scenes and more perhaps on you'll see it as such, like you're definitely much more active in your life, you see. All right, Taurus, well, I hope you guys have a fantastic month. Please let me know if you have any questions. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel. Get in touch if you'd like a personal reading or if you have any questions, and I will talk to you next time. Take care.